Now this is a new subchapter, f of x terminology. What is f of x? If, for example, we have a system of linear functions that consists of two functions, 3x plus 5y equals negative 20 and 2x minus y equals 1. Okay, we have two functions. Please keep in mind we are still involving linear functions. So we need to recall back what is the definition of functions from chapter 2. So something that we need to recall is for every functions that's involving two variables, there will be an independent and dependent variables. Okay, so based on our agreement for this one, we use the x as the independent variable and the y as the dependent variable. Okay, so in order for us to see clearly about the relations between the dependent and the independent, I don't want us to keep in this form ax plus by equals c, since actually this kind of form cannot be, we cannot visibly see which one is the independent and which one is the dependent. We need to use a form that show that y is a function of x. Okay, since we want to go back to the definition of a function, so let's change this ax plus by equals c form into, let's just say, a slope-intercept form to show that y is a function of x. So let's convert that. Okay, you have learned about how about the conversion. So actually we have these two functions, and if I graph it, yeah, this is the graph. Okay, this one, the blue line, is the second one, y equals 2x minus 1, and the red one is the first one. Okay, so yeah, we have a system, and you can recall back that the intersection here is the solution of the system, but that's not what we are trying to learn now. There is a question here now. If this is a system and it consists of two functions, and if someone asks you, what is the value of y if x equals 5? Okay, try to think about it. What is the value of y if x equals 5? Okay, you should have a dilemma now. Why? Because which function that you are referring to, right? So if I'm using x equals 5, if I'm using the blue functions, which is y equals 2x minus 1, I will have a different value of y aside of if I use the red one, right? So I need you to be clear if you want to ask me about what is the value of x, what is the value of y if x equals 5, which functions that we are referring to. Because if I'm using the first function, which is this one, so the value of y when x equals 5 is, yeah, I just substitute the x by 5, and then this is my y, negative 7. But if I'm using the second function, which is y equals 2x minus 1, the value of y when x equals 5 is 9. Okay, see, I have two different values of y for one x. Why? Because we are using different functions. Okay, so this form will give always a dilemma as long as we are using only y and x. Of course, we need to end this dilemma, but yes, we have a solution. Okay, the solution is, let's replace variable y by f of x for the first function and g of x for the second function. Or if you have more than two functions, for example, the third one, let's use h of x and so on. Okay, but let's go back to the example now. We have only two functions, so now let's replace the first function, the y of the first function, by fx, So it becomes like this. Okay, see the conversion here. Okay, and then let's replace the y of the second one, the second function, by gx or g of x. Okay, so f of x and g of x is just another symbol that replaces y to differentiate which functions that we are referring to. In the end, if you have question, okay, let's go back to the questions. What is the value of y if x equals 5? We need to stop asking using y, okay, using the variable y, since we are involving two functions here. So let's start by using this f of 5. Okay, what is the meaning of f of 5? If I translate this into an English talk, it means what is the value of y in function f when 5 is substituted for x. So actually I am referring to what is the y if x equals 5, but for the first function, dfx. Okay, so when we execute that, let's recall back what is the first function. So this is the first function. The f of x just replace y. Again, this is one symbol here. So the f of 5 is when x equals 5. You substitute the x by 5. And then you will find the value of f of 5 is -7. Or the value of y in function f is -7 when x equals 5. So let's just go to the next question. Okay, so if this is the next question, if I translate it into an English talk, it means what is the value of y in function g? So we are speaking about the second function when 4 is substituted for x. Okay, so when we execute that, let's recall back what is the second function. This is the second function. So g of 4 is the value of g of x when 4 is your x. So you substitute x by 4 and then you can calculate it, it's 7. So that is how you translate this new terminology f of x and g of x. But please do keep in mind that f of x and g of x refer to the same variable. Still, it's referred to the same variable, which is x, which is y. Sorry. So f of x and g of x or h of x and so on refer to the same variable y. And another thing is f of x or g of x doesn't mean f times x. It's just a symbol, a unity. So do not translate it as f times x. Or if we use g of x, it doesn't mean that it is g times x. So if a system consists of three functions for now, so this is three functions. Okay, y equals x cubed minus 1, y equals x squared minus 2x plus 1, and y equals 3x minus 1. Since we are involving three functions, again, to avoid ambiguity or dilemma, let's translate each of y into f of x, and the second function will be g of x, and the third function will be h of x. So let's translate or let's replace the y into these new symbols, f of x, g of x, and h of x. Why? Since if we have question like this, what is the value of y of the second function when x equals to 3? So actually we go to the second function. What is the value of y if x equals 3? So actually in the simple mathematical language, the questions can be shortened into this g of 3. So g of 3 can replace these long questions. G of 3, the value of y of the second function when x equals 3. So when you execute that, you just substitute the x by 3, okay, and then by simple arithmetic, you can know that it is not it become like this, and you get the value of the g of 3 equals 4, or the value of y of the second functions equals to 4 when x equals to 3. Okay, so the next questions, what is the value of y of the first function when x equals to -1? So actually I can shorten these questions into f of -1. What is the value of y of the first function when x equals to -1? So I'm just using the first function and I replace or substitute x by -1. So when I execute it, I will have this, and with simple arithmetic, you will find it is -2. Now let me go to the third question. What is the value of x? Now what is the value of x when y of the third function equals to 5? So actually you are given an information that the y of the third function equals to 5, and what is the value of x. So actually if I replace it with a symbol, it means you know that h of x equals 5. You have to find what is the x. Okay, so since h of x equals 3x minus 1, so when h of x equals 5, it means 5 equals 3x minus 1. And by simple arithmetic, you will find that the value of x equals to 2. Now let's use the same three functions that we have before, and we will face another questions, another variations of things that you can face about this situation. Okay, now let's say if someone asks you what is g of j. Okay, what is g of j? So it means you are referring to what is the value of y of the second function if I substitute x by j. Okay, so the result is this one, j squared minus 2j plus 1. Done. You can do anything from here. This is your final answer. Okay, so if you have another question, what is g of h of x? Wow, what is g of h of x? It means I'm referring to another the second function. What is the value of y if I substitute x by h of x? See? So let's just substitute x by h of x. It becomes h of x squared minus 2 times h of x plus 1. But we cannot stop here since we know that h of x equals 3x minus 1, right? So let's substitute all h of x by 3x minus 1. There you go. So it becomes like this, and you need to simplify it. And yeah, you are doing the simple arithmetic, and in the end, we can find that the g of h of x equals 9x squared minus 12x plus 4. And the last one that I want to introduce you is this. What is the value of h of f of 2? So it means the final answer is I want to ask you about what is the value of y of the third function if I substitute x by the value of f of 2. Wow. So in order to get the final result, the answer, I need to find first what is the value of f of 2, right? The value of y of the first function when x equals 2. So let's just find it first. What is f of 2? So I substitute x of the first function by 2. In the end, I can find it 7. So the value of f of 2 is 7. So I can go back to the original question h of f of 2 will be equal to h of 7 since f of 2 equals 7, right? So now I can go further. So h of 7 means what is the value of y of the third function when dx equals 7. So I just do that and I find 20 as my final answer. And you can find another variations of problems and you can start acknowledge them by doing the practice or the homework that I give you. Happy practicing.